All right, welcome back. It's our time to be free family. So today we're going to be talking about why should we be paying attention to our inner dialogue. But before we really get into this lesson today, if you haven't been following the sequence, please go ahead. I'm going to try to link the very first episode up here, wherever you find it. You'll see a pop-up come up. Go ahead and watch that and then watch all the ones in the series. I try to keep them at least 15 minutes or below, but take a look at those and start through the beginning of the series. All right, because I'm gonna be providing a lot of information about the inner dialogue, so in hopes that it will take you from the beginning, all the way to a result on how you can really tell your inner critic to shut up. Also, down in the description, check out my Silence Your Inner Critic course that I created. You can check that out at your leisure. There'll be a link in the description. And a few other things that may help you out. So check out the links in the description. I apologize for the noise. There's a lot of airplanes going by and I have the window open. So please forgive the noise. But again, so now we're going to go ahead and jump right into this. Why we should be paying attention to our inner dialogue. Well, if you've been following along with this series, you already know that our inner critic can really hold us back. So once we start to internalize the messages of fear and doubt, once we start internalizing those messages, it can be real easy to fall into a pattern of avoiding anything that seems too difficult or scary. So, but the wonderful thing here is that we can break this pattern. Okay, the key really lies in learning how to manage our inner dialogue. So continue on with this series so that you can start to, learn more about the connection between what you think and what you feel. Okay, because you'll start to discover tips for taking control of the conversation and turning that inner dialogue around to benefit you. You turn it around in your favor. And I'm gonna take a real quick break and close this window because the noise is bothering me. Give me a second. All right, guys, I am back. I apologize for all that noise. All right, so now we're going to talk about, why what you tell yourself matters, because it matters. What you tell yourself, it matters, because the things that we tell ourselves, we start to believe. So if we're telling ourselves all these negative things, those are the things that we're going to begin to believe about ourselves. And the same is true about positive things. When we tell ourselves positive things on a consistent basis, those are the things that we internalize. And so that's what we begin to tell ourselves, more positive messages. And that's what we really want. Because every time we tell ourselves a negative message, it creates stress, it keeps us down, it creates depression in us. So we want to keep our vibration high, because the words that you tell yourself can really have an influence on how you feel and actually how you behave as well. See, this internal dialogue can spiral into some negative pattern of negative messages if you're not careful. You'll have this constant pattern that just will continue to send you negative messages. All right, so that's what we are really trying to avoid, because these words really feed upon each other. And then what happens is you end up telling yourself things that make you feel bad. So think about it. How many times have you told yourself something internally and you started feeling bad about it? See, these are the things that we are trying to prevent. See, while it's true that this can hold you back, from trying new things and reaching new goals in your life, it can also have a negative effect on your daily mood. I remember, telling myself all these negative messages, and I was depressed, and, I wouldn't feel motivated to do anything, and I didn't feel like myself. Guys, because when you tell yourself something long enough, you start to believe it. You start to internalize it. All right? So our internal dialogue is so powerful, and most people don't realize it, or they're not aware of it, that they're telling themselves these negative things, and that's the reason why their mood is not in a happier state. Okay? Because our inner dialogue, guys, it can lead to stress, anxiety, depression, and even more. I've suffered with all of those things. All right. But I found a way to control my inner dialogue. As soon as a negative thought comes to my mind, I immediately change it to something positive. As soon as I'm aware of that negative thought, I immediately change it to something positive, because I don't want that negative thought to stay around. Okay? And that's what you can also do the same thing. When you find yourself saying negative things about yourself, try turning it around into something more positive. Because what you tell yourself, it really becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and your words become your truth. It's just plain and simple. Whatever you tell yourself is true. It's going to become true to you. If you tell yourself that long enough, that will become your truth. So instead of all the negative stuff, even if there's negative stuff that you've been told, and negative stuff that you started to internalize from other people, and negative things that you currently tell yourself, it becomes your truth, but you can turn it around. And so that's what we're going to kind of talk about next, is how can you take control of the conversation? How can you take control of the conversation? Because, as we've discussed, once you recognize the negative pattern of your words, you can really start turning those things around. Just as negative messages can make you feel bad, positive ones can improve your outlook on life. And it's true. It is so true, because once I started turning my negative messages around, life became so much easier. It became so much, I was so much more a happier person once I started changing my outlook on life into more positive messages. Because when you look more positively, when you think more positively, you'll start to feel more optimistic about life. Your actions will also reflect this positivity. So just remember those things. So take some time to listen to the things that you're saying to yourself. Take notes on things you commonly say to yourself. Put a positive spin on things when you catch yourself saying mean things. Look for the reality and find ways to address the problem. Okay? And pay attention to how you feel when you turn negative thoughts into a more realistic and positive ones, because you'll definitely start to feel a change in you. Now, it doesn't happen overnight, but if you continue on and be consistent to become more aware of your thoughts, and start changing those negative thoughts to more positive ones, you'll start feeling a whole lot better. So use that feeling to kind of guide any of your future internal conversations. All right. And again, like I said earlier, it's not going to be overnight. Okay, because it takes practice. Practice makes perfect. There's really no such thing as perfect, because we're always a work in progress. But practice makes progress. Excuse me. So, so take that time to learn new patterns for yourself. Instead of all the negative thoughts, take that time to monitor your thoughts, become aware of them, monitor them, and change those negative thoughts into more positive ones. And one of the things that you can really do that will help you is saying positive affirmations. Affirmations are very, very powerful. Okay, once you start giving yourself pep talks and turning things around, it's likely, things will start to get better for you. You start to know the real person that you are, because you're constantly reminding yourself of your strengths. and it can really make it easier to shut down that inner dialogue. Okay, so again, these things are going to take time. You've probably been telling yourself these things for years, tearing yourself down, belittling yourself, you know, and for up to today, you could be doing this. You know, I was doing this till I was about 40, so that was like that's like a lifetime for me. But I'm here today to say that I learned new patterns, I've learned new habits in order to shut down those negative thoughts and replace them with more positive ones so that I can have a more positive outlook on life. So, and you can do the same thing, even if you've been telling yourself and telling yourself negative thoughts and tearing yourself down for years. Because, learning these new habits, it requires repetition. It's plain and simple. It requires repetition. And so you have to prepare yourself to put these things in place so that you can be consistent and continue to work from a place of awareness. So as you're doing this, I want you to be gentle with yourself. You know, if you backslide, it's okay. It's okay. We all do it. To this day, I still have negative thoughts, but I remember I'm human. We're not perfect, because when we're changing our habits, any habit that we change, going back to the old stuff that's familiar that we know is to be expected. But guys, with practice, you'll definitely get there. So practice this positive self-talk, and start replacing, those negative thoughts with more positive ones. And then you'll begin to see changes within yourself. You'll begin to see changes within your moods. So I really hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. I love teaching this stuff because, this is stuff that I've learned, and it's amazing how my life has changed. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please go ahead and hit the like, subscribe, comment if you have any questions. And don't forget to check out the links in the description on the Silence Your Inner Critic course, and a couple other resources that may actually help you, get to the next stage of your life of where you're trying to go. All right? So I appreciate you guys watching. As always, it's our time to be free.